Hey, this is Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP-TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime, Angus, and Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, the king of all, those cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes, even those monstrous half-pound burgers, USDA Prime. Best I've ever had, probably be the best you ever have as well. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call, find out what's for dinner. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100 for UppercutChops.com. All right, a big welcome in to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast, including our friends over on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, and Wow Cable Television, Hotel TV in all Nielsen-rated markets, as well as everybody on Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook, plus all other streaming platforms. Right here from the top of the show, a little bit of a surprise, because that's what we do. We have, this is one of our parts of a 14-part series. And this is Jason Owens, country music artist. I always call him country music star. Jason, welcome in.
Hey, Sal. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, man. That's what we do over here. Sometimes it's a curveball. Sometimes it's a knuckleball. Sometimes it's a slider. Sometimes it's a fastball. You never know what's going to happen. I brought you in from the top of the show today because we have a lot to cover. And, you know, as an independent artist, we think of, what do you really do besides sing and write songs? I mean, there's a lot going on in this. This just really takes a longer conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what do we not do?
Right.
There's so much to being an independent artist. It's not even funny.
Okay, so give the audience a life in the day of Jason Owens. By the way, folks, check him out at jasonowensmusic.com.
Yeah, so I'll wake up in the morning and go have some breakfast, and then I'll get on my computer and start emailing venues or doing some accounting or, just talking to whoever I need to talk to, scheduling rights with other songwriters. Man, there's just so many different things that go on the back end of it that people just don't see.
Well, hold that thought for a second. Scheduling rights with other songwriters. For those that don't know, what is that?
Yeah, so that would be when we do a co-write, which basically means that we get together with another songwriter and we write a song together. So since I wrote the song and say you wrote the song, Sal, we would be co-writers.
Okay, but what about, there are some artists out there that take maybe a sample of somebody's music and they'll insert it into their song. What does that look like?
I have never done that. And just from a publishing side of things, I just stay away from that.
But what is that, though?
Issues.
But what is that? What is that?
What is that?
Yeah, what does that entail?
Sample something?
Yeah.
Well, that's when you take a piece of their song and put it in your song.
Okay. Now, is there a rule? Is there a copyright rule on that? How much you could take without having to have permission? Or for any moment of it, do you have to?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have to have permission if you use the actual song. Now, if you like re-record it and you get a license to release it as a cover song, like as your song, then that is okay if you get the right licensing, but I'm pretty sure to use like a sample of the actual song, you need to go directly to the publisher or the songwriter, whoever recorded that, and get that permission. I've never done that though, so I may not be the best person to ask on that.
Well, that's okay. I mean, there's a lot of people that take music from others, and notoriously we hear that in the R&B and rap world. There's so much of that. And I wonder half the time, I mean, look, I'm not opposed to it. I just wonder what kind of hoops they have to jump through to maybe use some backbeats of another song or something like that. And it just seems like sometimes there's 3, 4, 5 different songs meshed together in some kind of a montage. And
Sure.
in the background, while it's playing, while somebody is rapping to something, or possibly even in nowadays singing to something without auto-tune, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused on the mishmash of songs, and to me, yes, it's creative. Everything is creative, and I get it. I'm not trying to beat up anybody in any genre, whatever. But I guess really what I'm after are artists that will write their own music, they'll sing their own music, they'll sing it live just like they do in studio. They don't have to auto-tune it. And for all those that don't know what auto-tune is, what is that?
So basically that is a pitch correction for a vocal or an instrument. So if you didn't sing perfectly in pitch, you can throw some auto-tune on it and it actually will fix that. Or you can use something called Melodyne, which is it's been around for a while, but you can actually go in and individually pick which notes you want to move to put into pitch. So like say you sang a phrase, but this one note just isn't there, but you really like that take, so you just throw it into Melodyne and then just pop it up, and then you're in tune. It's pretty crazy.
That's the proverbial fix it in the mix idea.
Yes, definitely.
Yep. Well, and the reason I even mention this in the first place is because how many artists really use this auto-tune or this Melodyne? A lot of them do use it, right?
Yeah, a lot of them do use it. And some of them that are on labels may not even have a choice that if they can use it or not, because the label wants it to sound perfect.
I guess it's what's perfect to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's
what's commercially perfect.
Right. That's the key. But to me, it's kind of like cheating in the first place. It's absolutely cheating. Yeah, when I look at it or when I listen to it, I just scratch my head and say, all right, I know this person can't sing this particular way. And the average person doesn't really give a damn. But I do. I do, because I'm a sort of a student of music. I don't play it very well, as you know. But the most important thing is that I understand it. And to me, it's very frustrating. Going to a concert, there is one band I like, which I will not name. And I've seen them in concert a few times. And I know damn well what I'm in for when I go to see them. Because, look, first of all, I'm not going to listen to the vocals, because the vocals are horrific. I mean, they're really bad, bad. And I just scratch my head first when I walk in and I listen. I'm like, oh, God, why did I pay money to listen to this particular person sing? Well, they're not really singing. I guess they are singing, but they sound awful. But the music sounds right. And it's the music and melody that I'm really paying to go see. And I think a lot of people feel that way when they go to see a concert or a live performance.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I've seen your shows live, and you are exactly as recorded, exactly on stage as well. Of course, that always deserves a nice round of applause. That's exciting.
Yeah, that's exciting to hear. I'm glad to hear that.
You know, many people don't realize the work that goes in. Now, let's get back to this music rights, because I completely digressed here. We've got about a minute and a half left in the segment. But a lot of people don't realize what goes into the life of an artist. And artists, I mean, look, you can spin the word artist in so many different ways, and we're going to open up next segment with that. But real quick, let's close up that calling the other calling the other artists and whatnot. And when you come to the point where you've had a meeting of the minds, what is the next step in 1 minute for your song? Or you say you make those telephone calls. What's the next step?
Sure. So if you write a song together, if that's what we're talking about,
Yep.
I believe it is.
It is.
We would decide then, well, do one of us want to cut this song, like as in record it to release, or do we want to try to shop it around and maybe get somebody else to record it? Because maybe it's a great song, but maybe it's not for us. Because as an artist, you have to pick songs that work for you and your brand and your just personality in general. Maybe that's a great song, but maybe somebody else should record it. Sometimes it's like that.
I would imagine that's the case. And there are people I know that have done what you do, and they've told me exactly that. In fact, this one guy I know, he wrote a song, he was going to perform it, but ironically, it was meant for a bigger stage, and Elvis Presley actually sang it.
Wow.
Imagine that.
Cool.
That's
cool.
That's really cool. If you've done nothing else in your life, right? You've wrote a song, and it was Elvis that performed your song and did it live on stage. That is really exciting. Tell you what, folks, we're going to come back here with Jason Owens. In the meantime, check him out at jasonowensmusic.com. And we've got a song coming up for you in about 15 seconds. One of Jason's original songs. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on the Sports Circus.
On paper I look perfect, just a nice country boy from the South. And on paper I look worth it, the kind of guy you wanna settle down with. But in reality, you gotta have a strong heart, 'cause being in love with me is really like being hard. 'Cause I'm always gone, 9 times out of 10. Guys like me hit the road and never look back again. Have one true love, and it's being on that stage with a 6-string in hand. We'll never look back again. We'll never look back again. And on paper we look perfect. When we walk into a room, everybody smiles. And yeah, I can hear them talking, saying that's the cutest couple I've seen in a while. But when you drive by my house and the lights aren't on, that's when you'll be thinking, oh, when will he be home? 'Cause I'm always gone, and 9 times out of 10, guys like me hit the road and never look back again. Have one true love, and it's being on that stage with a 6-string in hand. We'll never look back again. I know some.
back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by the music of Jason Owens. And here to tell you all about his music is, of course, Jason Owens.
What's going on, y'all? My name is Jason Owens. I'm a country music artist. You can find me online on all the social medias at Jason Owens Music. Online on our website at www.jasonowensmusic.com, and then on all streaming platforms, your favorite ones, just search Jason Owens.
All right. And by the way, folks, check out his tour dates at jasonowensmusic.com. And Jason appears all over the country, playing casinos, big hotel casinos right here in Las Vegas, and, big county fairs and state fairs and big food contests, all kinds of cool outdoor festivals and whatnot, and is available, of course, for private parties. All right. A shameless plug, of course, because I like the idea of an independent star coming on here and talking about what he does, whether it's on the road, at home. And we're in the middle of a day in the life of Jason Owens. So waking up, calling other artists that he may be collaborating with. And I had said where we're going to pick off in the last segment. But then again, let's just go ahead and pick it up after those telephone calls first. What's next?
Sure. Well, after those telephone calls, I'll probably go into the studio and work on some music. Or I'll have to do some accounting on some things that have just happened, just to make sure that we've got all that in order, or make sure the band knows what dates we've got added on, and all those kinds of things, man. There's just a long laundry list of things that go into it. It's not just walking up on the stage and singing.
Okay, so let's talk about the accounting for a minute. So I gather that you're not a certified public accountant.
No, I have QuickBooks.
But you have QuickBooks. All right, that's great.
Show me the money!
Right? Everybody wants to see where the money's coming from. But you just basically drop everything into the software, and it tells you what has to be paid and when it has to be paid and where it has to be paid, right?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, so it's not too terribly difficult. What happens if you're on the road, hypothetically, 250 days out of the year?
Mm-hmm.
How does that work?
As far as the accounting goes, or?
Well, the accounting is the accounting. I'm just saying, as far as your time management, I mean, you can't wake up, call this one, call that one, and everything else.
On a show day.
Yeah.
On a show day, so we're probably going to be pulling into a town. Maybe we drove overnight to do that, or if we're lucky, we're getting up from a hotel that's real close to the venue, and we'll go over there. And if we're opening for somebody, that's an early day, because the sound check is always super early. So if the show's at like 9 or 10 o'clock, we might be sound checking at like 2 o'clock. And then we're sitting around for most of that day, just trying to figure out what we're going to do. But maybe we'll write a song, maybe we'll go to the gym, maybe we'll just hang out, maybe we'll take a nap. The show days are a lot less taxing on like the other stuff than what we talked about, like just a normal day when I'm not on the road.
Okay, let's go back to a day in the life of at home. Okay, so you've gone into the studio. First, you did all the checks to make sure that you did your necessary things with maybe contacting another artist and whatnot. Then you went into the studio, and then first you actually went into the office to do your accounting work, right?
Yes.
Okay, now you're in the studio. And what are you doing in the studio? Remember, this is just the average, the typical day for you when you're not volunteering at the church and all kinds of cool stuff, because you do a lot of good-hearted things.
Yeah, I love to do that too. But yeah, usually when I'm in the studio, probably whatever song we just wrote, I'm laying down ideas and trying to put a demo together, which is what a demo is a song So a new song you wrote that you want to probably eventually be a record, but you're not sure if you are 100% sold on it. So pretty much every song gets a demo, which is kind of a more dumbed down version of what the full record would be. So it's not as polished, not as many layers, kind of thing. So I do a lot of demos for songs that I've written. And then, it takes a long time, Sal, is the mixing process. And if I know I'm going to release it, usually most of the stuff I've released, I send it off to somebody in Nashville, and they mix it, master it, whatnot. But if I'm working the demo or something, I'm probably going to do it myself because I don't want to put the financial backing into the song until it's done. And that's usually the part that takes me the longest because it's always different depending on what that track entails.
Okay, well, how is it different?
How's it different? Well, if it's a softer song or if it's like a harder rockin' song, it's just a lot different. I mean, I couldn't explain it all to you. I mean, there's...
Come on, man, we've got a whole hour of show here. You've got time.
I've got a session pulled up where we got,
right.
I've got EQs, I've got compressors, I've got all kinds of stuff going on in this thing. And this session I've got pulled up actually is for my church. We're working on a live stream thing, so I've been working on that for them down here. But it's just different depending on what that song is.
Do you find that you spend more time on a ballad versus something more upbeat?
Yes.
Talk about that. All right, talk about that.
Yeah, with the ballad, you got to be a little bit more picky about your vocal and make sure that it's pretty perfect. Then you have to add all the instrumentation in to fill that space to give that ballad feel, whereas on a big rocking song, I'm just gonna throw down a big drum beat, throw some bass on it, and then just layer guitars, stack guitars, stack guitars, stack guitars, and that's easier for me. Probably just because I like to think of myself as a guitar player. Just being able to just throw parts and parts and parts and parts on top of each other to make the demo or the record.
Okay, so you talk about the guitar. I'm going to sidetrack for a minute because I'm an expert at sidetracking. Do you also play a 12-string?
So I can play a 12-string, but I don't own one. But I do, in the studio with me, I have what's called a high strung. It's a Nashville guitar tuning, and basically it's still a 6-string, but it's just all of the smaller strings on the 12-string. So it's a very bright sound, just to add some layers to a track.
For all those people that don't know what a 12-string is, give a quick understanding for everybody.
Yeah, so a 12-string, basically you play it like a 6-string, but every 2 strings are together. So when you're playing it, you have, instead of 6 strings, you obviously have 12 strings. Imagine that. And you are pretty much, like I said, you're putting your finger on 2 strings at once, and it just has a bigger sound. It's really pretty.
Yeah, it's a very rich sound.
Mm-hmm.
Right. In the same way, look, you have a regular bass guitar player, but then there's also the upright bass. A very different sound there, isn't there?
Yes, it's definitely a lot different sound.
Now, if you, Jason, if you could put an upright bass on your stage, would you do it?
For certain things, yeah, but I don't think it really lends to my type of music.
Well, I always think of, look, it's me. I watch cartoons every day in my life, and there's an episode of Tom and Jerry when Tom is actually playing the bass, saying, "Is you is and is you ain't my baby." I love that song.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite ones of all time, and that's probably the extent of my singing, by the way, too, if you know what I mean. No, the crowd's booing me. Absolutely not. No, but I just think of the 12-string and these other ensembles. You know, when I was a kid, we went to the symphony orchestra quite a bit for our music classes. They would take us on the field trips, and we got a chance to experience the symphony orchestra no less than once a month back in Chicagoland, where I'm from, and we were very cultured versus a lot of kids out on the western half of the United States. Very different world, I must say. And, you know, growing up in your part in Kentucky, it's a very different world. But I would say culturally speaking, we were exposed to a hell of a lot more music-wise than most of the people on the West. But so I have a real appreciation for all these different instruments, and maybe we'll talk about that in the next segment. Who knows? We're jumping all over the place because that's what we do here on the circus. I mean, look, it is what it is, folks. We don't have a script. We just do what we do, and that's what we keep doing. So we're going to be back here in just a few minutes. In the meantime, there's going to be some more music here from Jason Owens, another original song. And folks, while we're on break, check him out at jasonowensmusic.com. That's jasonowensmusic.com. Don't go anywhere. Back in a few minutes.
Drown all your sorrows, going out with your girlfriend, leaving your boyfriend at home. Now it's been a while, I guess I should expect it. You do this every time, soon you're gonna regret it. When he sees my number on your phone at 3 a.m. I'm always your first call when you had a little too much. You're running to me no matter what. When you're getting past the point of a buzz, you start searching. You keep looking for something you've already found, but it takes a shot of 90 proof to make you drown in your emotions and realize you want me. When you're with him and you're in denial, I'm your first drunk dial. Through the phone, you're asking me if I'm alone. How many times do I have to tell you no? You got a man who treats you like a queen. Yeah, that guy would do anything. See your number light up his screen tonight. I'm always your first call when you had a little too much. You're running to me no matter what. When you're getting past the point of a buzz, you start searching. Keep looking for something you've already found, but it takes a shot of 90 proof to make you drown in your emotions and realize you want me. When you're with him and you're in denial, I'm your first drunk dial. I'm always your first call when you had a little too much. You're running to me no matter what. When you're getting past the point of a buzz, you start searching. Keep looking for something you've already found, but it takes a shot of 90 proof to make you drown in your emotions and realize you want me. When you're with him and you're in denial. When you're with him and you're...
Hey everybody, this is Adam Curry from Candlebox, and you're listening to The Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's csncoyotes.com for the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. All right, welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast, including our friends over in Atlanta. Thanks for waking up with us on WDJY 99.1 FM. Over in Auburn, Alabama, thanks for driving home with us on WAUD 1230 on the AM dial. That's home of the Atlanta Braves. Welcome back to everybody throughout the heartland, all the way through the West Coast, over to Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHKA. That's home of the New York Yankees, San Francisco 49ers, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. And plus, everybody on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, and Wow Cable TV in select markets, as well as hotel TV, and over 550,000 rooms. As I understand it, actually, it's up to 600,000. Nonetheless, thanks for joining us there. Also on all social media platforms, as well as Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Deezer, even the Mars rover. You can't get away from us, folks. All right, back here with Jason Owens, JasonOwensMusic.com. Make sure you check that out as well. And we just heard a really good song, good original content, and that was a song called Drunk Dial. Before we get back into the life of, I guess the day in the life of Jason Owens, let's go ahead and hear a little bit more about Drunk Dial, how that came about.
Yeah, man. So that song, it's actually a pretty funny story. I had this friend that every time she would get drunk, she would call me up and she would tell me that she loved me. Now, nothing wrong with her or whatever, I guess. But, Stop it! She had a boyfriend.
What?
And so that wasn't cool. I guess I'm just irresistible. Whatever, you know.
Yeah. Well, look at it this way. I mean, you can't stop people from loving you. All you can do is just stop taking the phone call, if you know what I mean. Right? If they just get to auto right to voicemail or something like that. But that's a really good song, though. I mean, look, I've listened to your whole library of songs, and that's the one I think I like the most because maybe I have been, I guess, treated the same way like you. I get those telephone calls. You know, I get the drunk dials, but I also get the drunk text.
Yeah.
I mean, that I'd like to hear a follow-up, maybe a sequel to Drunk Dial, the drunk text.
The drunk text?
Yeah.
With pictures?
Not with pictures. No. We don't want that one because, no, you never know what the heck's going to happen there. But anyhow, moving on, when we think about this Drunk Dial song, and I could see other people covering this in different genres from whatever, rock, even blues. I mean, come on, that could be a fun one in the blues world.
Yeah.
Think about that. I think a lot of people are going to be licensing that one from you. All right, so anyway. Well, yeah, we left off. I'm jumping all over the place because that's what I do. All right, a day in the life of Jason. Where do we leave off?
We left off with me in the studio, mixing, recording demos. Then after that, I'm probably going to go home and work on more email kind of things, make sure that, like I said, the band knows what they need to do, and then if I need to schedule sound for shows or anything like that. So like the PA systems, like when you go to a show, you see that thing hanging in there,
right?
That those big boxes, and I got to make sure that we have that taken care of, and the subs and all that, soundboard, sound man. Sometimes we do that ourselves, but if we can avoid it, it's always better to have a professional out there, doing that.
Okay, so when you talk about this we're going back to a day in the life of, not on the road, a day in the life of right now, because this is just in the studio. All right, you're in the studio. You have put together maybe some new ideas, and maybe you I don't know, you're writing a song, or I mean, look, from writing a song you write it and then you you lay the vocals down on the track, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For everybody that doesn't know what that means, please explain.
Yeah, so once you write the song, you go into the studio and you will normally I'll lay down an instrument, like either a piano or a guitar, and then I will sing into a microphone and record a scratch vocal. Sometimes that ends up being the real vocal you hear on the record, but most of the time, honestly, when you first get that song in, it's not the greatest first vocal because maybe that song's not completely done yet. You think it is, but maybe it's not, and maybe you need to change some melody things or something and make sure that it's up to par with the rest of your catalog.
Okay. All right. So talk a little bit more about that, because look, this is a part that the audience doesn't really know, and I think if you educate the audience a little bit more, I think they'll what's interesting is I find myself when the audience, when I go to a concert or a live performance like yours, for example, they don't know your music. Do you ever notice this where not only will their heads kind of gravitate a little bit closer to the speakers or closer to you because they're trying to listen a little bit more? Do you find that sometimes they want to hear more, so they actually turn their head and still looking at you, but it's almost like they're trying to get their ear closer to you?
Yeah, I do if they're not looking at a damn phone.
Right. Yeah, well, I find that I do it all the time. And even when I'm listening to the radio, I do the same thing. Do you?
Yeah, I do. Definitely. When I hear something that I like, I'm like, oh, what's that? What are they doing there? Especially, being on the production side of it, like being in the studio, you might hear something and be like, oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe I can incorporate that if it's something I haven't heard before. And that's few and far between because
you've just heard it all.
Have already been done.
You've just heard everything. That's all it is. Because you have how many millions of songs in your head?
Oh man, so many songs with so many different genres.
Now, how do you write something? Let's go back in the studio. When you're putting this together, there are so many songs that are written. How do you not infringe upon somebody else's? Do you have a program where you could put together almost like an AI checker? They have, when students write papers these days, they have to put them in some cases through an artificial intelligence checker to see if the paper was written or it's too close to AI written. Do you know what I'm saying? Is there an AI checker for music?
Not that I know of. Music's kind of different because you can't copyright chords. So a lot of songs have the same 4 chords.
But is it chord progression or is it the chords themselves? Because you can't say, I'm not going to play this. You can't play something as C or G.
Yeah, you can't copyright chord progressions.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah, it's a lot different than like writing a paper thesis or whatever.
But it's the same idea, though. I remember. Listen, I'm going to tell you a little story, young man, and I can say that because I'm twice your age. Listen to this. So when I know that's fine, and yeah, and of course the crickets sound once I hit that, and I can't even stop it. That's the crazy thing. All right, so the reality is, when I was in law school, I had to write this 50-page paper on something. I forget what the hell it was. Anyway, the point is, I wrote this paper, and one of my professors said, well, you have to cite every sentence. I'm like, what? What do you mean cite every sentence? Well, he goes, you have no original thought.
Wow.
Imagine that. You have no original thoughts. And I'm thinking, bro, you don't even know what's going on in my head right now. But the point is, I had to cite everything. So not only did I have to put footnotes at the bottom of everything, and I had to make sure I noted every sentence and where the thought actually came from. So, of course, in some of them, I just put my cranium, right? Because I didn't know what the hell he wanted. I mean, I knew what he wanted, but it's like, dude, I have original thought. And then I had to defend that paper in a 15-minute narrative in front of a panel. And then I had to take a half an hour's worth of questions. Yeah, welcome to law school, right? So I had to do that. And look, what I found was that there was a lot of original thought, but he was very narrow-minded. But there are people that make judgments on songs. Well, hey, wait, this chord progression sounds like this one here. Maybe you're just one octave off or something like that. And you can't do that. And so take 30 seconds before we go to break and talk about that.
Yeah, so there was a lawsuit. I believe it was between Ed Sheeran and somebody else. I can't remember who it was, but he literally went into the courtroom and played, I think, like 150 songs or something with the same chord progression. And it was like, hey, you know, these are all the same. So, like, you can't take me for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at the whole thing. Well, that's a very long conversation. Folks, we're going to be back here with Jason Owens in just a few minutes. Country star, check him out at jasonowensmusic.com. Lots more to come here on The Circus. And by the way, here's another original song coming right up from Jason Owens. Don't go anywhere. Back in a few minutes, folks.
Crawdads, hunting deer, Bourbon Trail, ice cold beer, bluegrass, Blonde Bay, with her iced tea, pouring one for me. Kentucky is my land, bathing in the creek till the derby stands. We say all and amen, but I've been meeting God in the deer stand, or out here on Cumberland Lake, casting out a line with my crazy horse bait. To you it may not make sense, but I'm from Kentucky. Cowboy boots, buckle belt, a big front porch, and the Bible Belt. Come on, babe, get on in my truck, a back dirt road, let's tear it up. Kentucky is my land, bathing in the creek till the derby stands. We say all and amen, but after meeting God in the deer stand, or out here on Cumberland Lake, casting out a line with my crazy horse bait. You, it may not make sense, but I'm from Kentucky. Country music gets us through it all. Bleeding blue, you know it's true. If you're from Kentucky, this song's for you. Kentucky is my land, bathing in the creek to the derby stands. We say y'all and yes ma'am, but I've been meeting God in the deer stand, or out here on Cumberland Lake, casting out a line with my crazy horse bait. It may not make sense. Oh, it may not make sense.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, make sure to check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, recorded shows which can be found on Apple, Amazon, Audible, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, Stitcher, Deezer, and of course all your social media platforms as well. Make sure that you check out the partners page. Lots of great partners. One of those, we just haven't had them up on the show, or better yet, we haven't had it up on the partners page just yet, and it has just been inserted. That is the music of Jason Owens, and here to tell you all about Jason Owens' music is Jason Owens.
What's going on, y'all? My name is Jason Owens. I'm a country music artist. You can find more about me online on all the social medias at Jason Owens Music, my website, jasonowensmusic.com, or you can listen to my music on any of the streaming platforms you listen to, your favorite one. Just type in Jason Owens.
All right, now super applause, yes, for Jason. Having a fun conversation about the day in the life of, not on the road, but at home. So you've woken up, you've had your breakfast, you made your phone calls, making sure you're not infringing upon anybody else's music, and you're laying down first you're doing the accounting work, by the way. Then you're going to the studio and you're coming up with new music ideas, make sure the team's on the right page and so forth. And I had completely cut you off right there because I was talking about different things such as the chord progressions and so forth where we left off in the last segment. Okay, so is it lunchtime yet? Because we're going to have to blow through the rest of your day here. We got to make sure that we cover this in the next who knows how long.
I don't normally eat lunch.
Why not?
I guess I kind of do the intermittent fasting thing to an extent.
But what is a typical meal for a country music star?
Yeah. Well, breakfast is usually 2 eggs and a banana.
2 eggs and a banana, all right.
And then lunch sometimes happens. Sometimes it's a protein bar. Sometimes it's nothing. The dinner, my wife makes amazing food, and she always has different things. We did like a spaghetti squash Alfredo thing the other night, and that was really good.
Okay. Well, earlier in the day is you probably, I guess you're a pretty fit and savvy guy. You already know. So eating a little heavier early in the day is probably better than eating heavier in the day.
Uh-huh.
When do you fill your exercise regimen, and what do you do?
Sure. It's different every day. I pick a couple body parts to work on every day. I try to do something every day to stay fit, and if I might take a rest day here and there, but not normally. No rest days.
So one day it could be the left bicep, the next day the right tricep?
No.
Well, you said you pick a couple of body parts.
It'll be both biceps.
Okay. All right. Do you do like chest and back one day and then arms and legs another day, or how do you do that?
Yep, exactly. Like back and bis, chest and tris. Legs are usually their own thing.
Hey, there's a song right there. There's a song idea. What did you just say? Say it again.
Back and bis, chest and tris.
Where do thighs work in? You got to put thighs in there for a third verse.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I'm helping you write music here.
All right, you copyright that.
Well,
make that a hit.
I want to hear a song about a snapping turtle. I think your dad told me, or your mom told me about a snapping turtle in the pond by their house.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. And
look out and see a snapping turtle. As long as you don't put your hand in the mouth.
Right. We've got those out here in the desert, the desert tortoise, and they are no joke, man. You don't put your fingers anywhere near those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't move at a snail's pace either. I mean, they're actually pretty quick, believe it or not. I mean, for a turtle, that is, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So there's another song. Look, the Speedy Turtle.
The Speedy Turtle.
The Speedy Snapping Turtle. Something like that.
Man,
I don't know.
It's kind of like my song, Slow and Steady.
Right.
That's a turtle. That's an old adage.
Yeah.
It's a turtle.
Yeah, that's a very good song too, by the way. Folks, if you've never heard that one, check out Slow and Steady at Jason Owens Music. You have a video for that there, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, we shot that in Rabbit Hash, Kentucky.
See, now speaking of rabbit, the hare and the turtle, that whole thing. See, we're going right back to the turtle once again.
Yes.
So that's good stuff. Okay, back into all right, so it's exercise. You talk a little bit about exercise, meals and exercise. I said, what is the typical meal? All right, and then the exercise. Do you get back in the studio after that and you go in there and grind it out for a certain amount of hours every day?
Yeah, man, it just depends on the day. But when you hear a song, like a completed song, you got to think there's probably about 40 hours of work into that song, that 3-minute song.
That's just the writing of the song?
No, that's just the recording of the song.
Well, I don't know. I'm not a songwriter. You would know.
Yeah. No, I mean, especially if you're doing it yourself, piece by piece, there's a lot of time put into making it a finished product.
Okay.
People probably don't think that, though. Like, they hear a 3-minute song, like, well, they probably just recorded it and it was done, but that's not really the case.
Okay. All right, so you say there's 40 minutes, and the 40 minutes itself is spent largely where? Let's say out of 100
hours.
Or, sorry, that's what I meant. Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah.
All right, come on, man, give me a break.
Come on, man. I mean,
out of the
that's
40,
a bit of a difference.
Hey,
here.
come on.
I mean,
come on, man. All right.
Yeah.
So out of the 40 hours, percentage-wise, that's what I meant to say. Out of the 40 hours, what is the percentage spent on writing?
On writing,
Roughly.
well, in that 40 hours, I wouldn't say that's just the recording process, Sal. That isn't the writing
Okay,
side of.
wait a minute. What is let me say it differently because I'm the one messing everything up. You're not doing anything wrong. If it takes 40 hours on the recording side, how much time typically does it take to write a song?
That varies. Sometimes you can write a song in 10 minutes. Sometimes it takes a lifetime. I quote a movie. There's a song called "I Can Only Imagine," and in the movie, he writes the song pretty quick. But Amy Grant, whoever's playing her in the movie, I don't think it's actually her, says, "Paul, this song, you didn't write this song in 10 minutes. This song took a lifetime because of everything that he went through, his experiences and whatnot." But that was one of the biggest songs ever. Have you heard that one, Sal?
Sing it for us, would you?
Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in all of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Yeah, do you know that one?
I don't.
If you don't, you should go check it out.
I don't know that one.
It's a beautiful song, a really good crossover hit. They played on like every radio station.
Maybe if you play the guitar with it, I might know it. I might recognize. You got a couple minutes left in the segment.
Yeah, I don't have a guitar next to me right now. I have a shaker.
All right, all right. Maybe I could get up on stage and play the shaker. What the hell? No, I'm kidding. All right,
Yeah,
whatever. Trust me. No, that's not going to happen. But anyway,
we'll put you in the back.
That's probably where I would.
We'll be like, tell the lighting guy. Yeah, just don't put any light on him.
No, you won't have to because there'll be a lot of shine off my forehead because I have a 5 head rather than a 4 head, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't help that one. With my hairline, it's kind of like a cul-de-sac. You could pull a car in there and park it for a while, whatever. Anyway, moving on. All right, so we've got a couple of minutes left here. All right, so let's finish up the day in the life of before it's dinner time. What does that look like, real quick?
Before it's dinner time, I'm probably just in the studio that whole day, and then I go home for dinner, and then depending on what's going on, I might come back and work on more stuff. I mean, think about that, 40-hour work week or whatever, right?
Yep.
You're putting 40 hours into a song. It's kind of similar, but you may or may not get paid.
Wait a minute. That's 40 hours of recording, not songwriting. Remember, we've already clarified that.
Yeah, no. But 40 hours into the production of the song.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for clarifying that. All right. Very good. Very good. All right. So listen, we are running a little bit low on time. So in that last, let's say you go back to the studio real quick. How much time are you allowed before you end up going to the principal's office and getting in trouble at home?
Ooh, not much.
Well, hey, family life is family life. Got to spend some time with the family for sure.
Yeah, you got to have a good work-life balance for sure, but you also have to grind and if you want to make anything of yourself.
No, I get that. And listen, thanks for taking the time and talking about the day in the life of at home, because there's so many different things. We just don't have the time. Of course, if we had a full day to do this, who knows, maybe there'll be some kind of a reality show or something on Jason Owens talking about that at some point or demonstrating what he does. I don't know. But anyway, Jason, tell everybody again how to follow you and so forth.
Yeah, you can find me on social media at Jason Owens Music, or my website, www.jasonowensmusic.com, or on your favorite streaming platform you can listen to my music. Just type in Jason Owens. Check it out.
All right, that's good stuff, folks. And I have to say that Jason, he's a good guy, and he's good live. He doesn't sound any different live than he does on his recorded material. And the songs that you've been hearing when we've gone to break, that is exactly how he sounds live on the stage, which many artists, obviously, they don't sound the same as we alluded to, or as I alluded to earlier in the show. And it's a real treat to go and listen, because you know what? Not only are you getting what you're expecting, but you get somebody that actually gives a damn instead of just up there playing because they're trying to get a paycheck. How many people, real quick, in your opinion, percentage-wise, actually go up there for a paycheck? Come on, you can be honest. It's just you and me.
Man, I have no clue.
Percentage.
What the percentage
10%, 5%, 100%, 80%. What is it?
I mean, people that I know, like a handful of people that I would know, I'd probably say it's 50-50.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's good stuff. Listen, Jason, thanks so much for joining us today here on The Circus. And, of course, this is part of a 14-part series, folks. This is distributed across these United States of America. And believe me, a lot of people are getting to know Jason. And hopefully, Jason's getting to know a little bit about the on-air business as well. That's going to do it for the show today. And we're going to see you in about 23 hours right here on your favorite station. So, folks, until then, for Jason Owens, again, check him out at jasonowensmusic.com. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. We'll see you real soon. So long, everyone.
She's like a locked up bank vault, and I'm trying to crack the code. She's a perfect 10. She's got nowhere else to go. Yeah, I'm trying to show her I'm the kind of man she wants. She's had some real losers and it's, but her defense is up. And I just want to love her to the moon and back. I'll never cheat, never lie, yeah, baby, none of that. But slow and steady wins the race. It's the thrill of the chase. Gotta build the trust up these days. Might start with a bottle of Jack. Maybe we won't need that. I gotta find a way to call her mine.